on to another episode of your friends from the Real Marks of Long Island. And we are 5 days removed from Bad Blood. And before we get into that, we're going to do a little change up on this episode. We're going to start with one of our segments, one of my favorite segments, one of Justin's favorite segments, and I think one of Courtney's favorite segments. It is Court's Cody Corner.
Cody Rhodes is the number one wrestler in the world. Cody Rhodes is the number one wrestler in the world. I am going to go to Justin's house and destroy his soundboard at this point. At this point in my life, that is what is going to happen. Welcome to another edition of Court's Cody Corner, Triple C. There's a lot of Cody stuff on my mind. That's just normal. That's everyday behavior. I do want to start with the attack by Kevin Owens after Bad Blood. It was not on the pay-per-view. It was not on social media. It was all fan reaction cam, and no one's talking about it. And we're recording on Thursday as usual, and SmackDown is tomorrow. We have nothing right now. And I want to know what Kevin's deal is, because Cody has done everything for that man. Takes him to Disneyland with his kids. Brandy posted a picture with Libby staring him down. I guess Libby knew and Cody didn't, and no one else did. I'm excited to see where that goes. But Kevin, as Jericho used to say, you just made the list. You made my list. We're done. You're one of my favorites. Now you have to be on the list. I am excited to see what they do with that. I think Cody is going to be, I think we're going to get an angered side of Cody that we don't normally see. I really like when Cody changes it up from the, smiling, happy babyface champion, and he gets angry. It's something that we don't see enough of, so I'm excited for that. Bad Blood main event, we're going to go into that later, so I'm not going to go crazy on it. But I am excited for Crown Jewel. And the Gunther and Cody match for the title, the Bejeweled Belt. I don't know what they called it. I'm excited for Cody to be Cody 2 titles. And that kind of sums up Court's Cody Corner for the moment.
So I kind of love what's happening right now, because everyone wants, we've said this many times, everyone wants Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns match. I guess 3, the rubber match. I love that we have Cody Gunther at Crown Jewel for, like you said, Court. I love it. The Bejeweled Championship, the Crown Jewel Championship. That thing's got, I think Hunter said it had like 64 diamonds or some shit on it. But he gets that. He's getting a feud with Kevin. It separates Cody from this a little bit. But we also have a lot of fallback, because I'm going right into it. My boy, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, pulled the CM Punk that did last year. We all thought pay-per-view was over. The Rock's music hits. He don't got to say a word, but show the rip to the jugular, because he's coming for WWE. He's ready to electrify professional wrestling once again. He's been gone too long. And I think we're going to see some fallback. Tomorrow, Friday Night SmackDown. Rock, Kevin Owens, Cody, Roman, new bloodline, old bloodline. Jimmy Uso's back. We got an Intercontinental Champion, Jey Uso, who might fall back into this fold. Who knows? It's exciting, but SmackDown just got so much more electrifying.
Yeah, so with the whole Rock thing, I am kind of annoyed about the whole Pat McAfee video now, because it did essentially spoil the Rock's return for everyone. Everyone assumed that when they said the big guy's returning this weekend, everyone assumed it was The Rock. And sure enough, it was. We had Jimmy return, which was awesome. I thought the Jimmy Uso surprise return with the hood and everything, sneaking up behind Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, thought it was awesome. The embrace between Jimmy and Roman, fantastic. And then, we thought the show was closing out, and then you didn't see the watermark in the bottom, and you knew something was going to happen. The Rock's music hits, and he gives the 1, 2, 3 also. So there's a lot of speculation. I know, Court, you sent something into our group saying that a triple threat for Mania is on the table. It's not off the table by any means. But I'm excited to see where it goes. And then there's a fan video right next to the Bloodline 2.0, and you see Solo saying, "It's all a part of the plan. It's all a part of the plan." So what's going to happen is, I'm excited to see what happens. I hope The Rock is on tomorrow night. I would hope he's on tomorrow night to keep this going. Excited to see what happens with Cody and Kevin. Tomorrow night should be a banger of an episode.
Yeah, I'm not mad about the McAfee video. I think that Rock posted like the day before too that he was in Georgia, so our hopes would have been up and our guard would be up already. So I like that they did that. That's different. I don't know what's gonna happen. What's the 1, 2, 3 mean? Is there gonna be 3 bloodlines? Like people were saying that Rock could be running his own bloodline. I saw that on Twitter. Who knows? It could be triple threat, which I can honestly say I don't want. I think you got to go one way or another with it. Cody Roman, Cody Rock, whatever you want to do with it. But I don't think triple threat's the way to go. So I hope that's not where they take it. But look, The Rock is The Rock. Me and him have had our issues the last year, but he's The Rock. He's the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. You can't beat it. I mean, I thought Ty was going to pass out. Jamie, his sister, called him, and right after as he was returning, and just funny. But no, Jimmy coming back was great too. Main event was great, and I was right. I want to take this opportunity to tell everyone I picked Cody and Roman. These two did not.
I mean, if you went against Cody, like you're kind of bound by blood to pick Cody. Like if it's a 50-on-1, you still have to pick Cody. Like there's no way you could possibly pick against Cody. You can't pick against Cody.
Yeah, but Super Cody doesn't have the same ring as Super Cena. But yeah, I'm very excited for SmackDown. I think the only 2 things that are confirmed is the Women's Tag Team Championship match and Roman speaking about what happened. So who knows what we're going to see from Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes? Will The Rock show up? Who knows? Jimmy Uso will probably be right there with Roman Reigns. And who knows? Maybe we get a returning Paul Heyman. Like, there's so much possibility with this. And it's like, this is Cody Rhodes, the Bloodline, The Rock. This is the talk of professional wrestling from 2024 and on right now. And I can't believe I even just said that, because when I was younger in high school, I almost shit myself seeing The Rock pop up for the Battle of Billionaires match when he did a little promo. And I was like, he's going to come back. And he didn't. Tell you that much. He did not come back. It was very sad. But to have The Rock back to professional wrestling, I will mark all day, all over the place about it. That's what our name's all about. We are the real marks. And I'll mark about The Rock all day, every day. The Rock's back there. One of those Funkos, yeah, right there. He's the one from WrestleMania. The glasses, the vest. It's perfect. I might grab it in a second. But the one thing I want to talk about is that where will Randy stand in all of this? Is Randy going to be good guy Randy and be on Cody's side? Does he go after Kevin? Or does he just stay the hell out?
I mean, for me, all right. So for me, I enjoyed that Cody was at Monday Night Raw and he had that run-in with Sami Zayn. I enjoyed that because Sami is like, hey, if you want to talk, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm here just for the crown jewel thing. Like, that's it. He's going to talk about it Friday night, built up Friday. But so like, I enjoy, because Sami, obviously we all know Sami and Kevin's history, and Sami's been turned on plenty by Kevin Owens. So all these people that have been turned on by Kevin, for Randy, I think he's going to stay neutral, because I don't think you can have him go heel right now, especially after, we'll get into it later, but the match with Javon Evans on NXT. I just don't think it's the right time for him to turn heel. So I think he just stays out of it. That's my personal opinion. I just think he he's going to just be a balancing act. He's going to talk to Cody. You're going to see him talk to Kevin, and he's just going to try to stay neutral throughout the whole thing.
I feel like you have a very good point there. It's like what's for Cody. I mean, for Randy, he's been with Cody, been against Cody plenty of times. So I don't know if he like has an allegiance at one way or another. So I think neutral is probably a fair assumption. I think Randy could go off and do something else. Maybe, U.S. title. Ugh, no, I can't believe I just said that. No, take it back. I think I think like you said, neutral, he'll stay in the middle. Maybe lean a little towards Cody because there's more history there than with him and Kevin. But you don't know. He could just show up and RKO both of them and then walk away.
Do I want heel?
And that wouldn't be heel.
I want heel Randy. That's what I want. I want it so bad, and I get it. But we've had face Randy for what? 2-3 years now, with Riddle and him being buddy and sayonara Riddle, never come back. Didn't really care about you. Good luck in whatever you're doing. Who knows if you're still in wrestling? Anyway, I want that Cody Randy feud. And will it make sense in this time frame? Probably not. But if you get past Kevin, if you get past Gunther, what do you fill at that point? I guess you do, in Survivor Series, new bloodline, old bloodline. If The Rock's in there with Solo, Tama, Tonga, and Jacob Fatu, that's 5. And then you got Cody, Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Sami Zayn. I guess you got that there, and you can fill that to WrestleMania. But I think you have 2-3-ish months where you can have a heel Randy and a face Cody put on a hell of a program over that time. But at the same flip of the coin, it's like I would want Cody Randy title match WrestleMania, easy, bar none. That would slap. It would just be generational of a match. To me, that's right up there with Rock Roman head to head. I think it would just sell so much freaking money.
Yeah, I would love to see it too, but we also have to remember starting January, whatever, when Raw comes to Netflix, we have the start of John Cena's farewell tour. So I think we've mentioned it on the podcast before, who's our dream opponent for Cena at Mania. And I think it was pretty much, I think it was like a landslide that we all want to see Orton and Cena go at it at Mania. So maybe that you have to have the turn by then, unless you're just going to have it be a mutual respect. Hey, let's just go at it one more time type of match. But it's Randy Orton we're fucking talking about. So, that he's got to turn by January. So the time's ticking, it's the countdown's real. So we need that turn. Maybe the turn happens at Raw, the first one on Netflix. Maybe that's when it happens. I don't know.
And maybe we just make Randy the 17-time champion now and let John Cena's farewell tour end with a nice stab in the back.
I would be so for like full-blown heel Randy versus full-blown babyface Cena again. God, those matches, those storylines, those feuds were next level. Randy in 2009 era, unmatched heel-wise, absolutely untouchable.
Let's talk about Hell in a Cell, because we started the day off 6 p.m. Eastern, 6:10 Eastern, we'll say, with CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell, brutality, blood, weapons, mayhem, and beautiful storytelling. I could not get over how well that match went. They beat each other up for 30 minutes in that cell, and they did everything they could to say, this is the end of this rivalry. We are leaving it all on the line. Blood, sweat, tears, beads, toolboxes, steel steps, tables, everything was left in that ring.
Yeah, and shout out to Abyss. I believe Abyss was the main producer on that match. So, I mean, having a man like Abyss, who knows hardcore, who knows brutality, it was just chef's kiss. But yeah, what a match. I mean, just like you said, like you just said it, the storytelling, the beads, just everything. It was perfect. And the fact that they started out with that match, it was like, all right, now you got to expect something for the main event, because leading up to that, we all thought the main event was Hell in a Cell, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre. When they made that switch, you have to have something huge happen during that main event, and something huge did happen. But it was by far my favorite match of the night. Probably maybe my favorite match of the year. It was that fucking good. It was immaculate. I love CM Punk, walking down the aisle and him needing, the oxygen. I thought that was a nice move. Seeing the staples in Drew's head, like, my God, both of those men went through hell and back, and they delivered. It was outstanding.
It was so hyped that I thought there's no way they could top the hype that we're all feeling for it. Us, the wrestling community, they said, no, fuck it. Blew that sky high. They went absolutely berserk. Match was incredible. Probably one of the best Hell in a Cells in the last decade at least. There was no red cell. There was no crappy, like sketchy, not sketchy, whatever, spots that just didn't, they were like corny. No corniness, all hardcore, intense. They went to hell and back, like you said, and absolutely delivered. I think you're right. It's up there for match of the year right now. And it was just perfect. There's really nothing else to say. That TikTok meme, perfect, just perfect. That's literally what it was.
And the funny part is, like, this kind of all happened on accident, right? Because Royal Rumble happens. Drew McIntyre hits the double hooked DDT, destroys his tricep, and then says he prayed for this. And it just created this story of like passion and hate that just every week just blew up and blew up. And I laugh because their first matchup had to have a special guest referee because no referee wanted to be in this war zone. Yet there were two referees afterwards who got paid to get in that ring. One in a freaking what is it called again with the strap match, and the other a Hell in a Cell. So I guess the referees either grew balls or they got paid triple time for what they were in the ring for. But it's just funny because just the animosity you could feel. Like, that's where, especially if you watch the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix, like, they talk about blurring the line between real and reality and the story and the program. That they did a beautiful job. Like, I think they actually do fucking hate each other, but they did the work for each other. They knew they wanted to make money. They wanted to draw. They wanted to be at the top of the card. They wanted to be the best thing going. And they both had that drive. And it was beautiful. I don't know. That's what I was talking about all these times on this podcast. Sound like a broken record. These 3-match programs. This is what I want. I want them. There's so much you can build, especially when you have such talented people like CM Punk, like Drew McIntyre, which they need to put a championship on Drew. Gunther, you're great. I'm starting to like you a lot more, especially with your promo work, especially the stunt with Bill Goldberg, which was fucking hilarious, by the way. And it's just like, Drew deserves it right now. Let him knock off Gunther. It's believable. He's the one that should do it. Let him get that high. He lost the program with Punk. Let him come back, win the world championship, bring it to WrestleMania. You can have Gunther Drew again. You can have Punk Drew 4. You can have Seth Drew. Like, there's so much you can do. That's what I want to see.
So, real quick, that Bill Goldberg and Gunther thing was top notch. But do you think, by any chance, that they did that clearly because Bill Goldberg's? He's wrestled in Saudi. He has no issue going to Saudi Arabia. You think he might get involved somehow, spear Gunther, help Cody win, and that sets up a match between Bill Goldberg and Gunther? Because Gunther doesn't lose his title. He doesn't get the crown jewel championship. So Court gets Cody 2 belts, and then Bill Goldberg gets his retirement match that he's been nagging about for over 2 years. So, I mean, if Bill Goldberg somehow shows up at Crown Jewel and screws Gunther, oh my God, I don't even know what to think.
He did say he's next.
I mean, it makes sense because then it in a way protects Gunther. You know, he doesn't lose clean to Cody, but then it kind of makes Cody like, Cody didn't beat Gunther clean. It kind of puts it up in the air a little bit.
Yeah, that could definitely happen because you're right. He's been in Saudi before and all that. He's not going to have a problem with it. But that's the one thing about that champion versus champion match. Those are hard to have because somebody has to lose. And especially for a title belt, it has to be semi-clean. So that could definitely happen, and that gives Gunther an excuse. Oh, I didn't really lose to Cody. Cody didn't really beat me. And that could definitely work because it's hard. Who do you put over? Like, it's 50-50 there. I mean, obviously the answer is Cody, but in reality.
Well, I think you can't have Cody lose at this moment, especially with this bloodline storyline, especially if it's going to be, Cody Roman, Cody the Rock, Roman in a triple threat. I think you need to keep him at the top of the mountain. It just wouldn't make any sense. And they've already promoted the hell out of Gunther. He's been this unstoppable force. He's lost like one match in like 5 years. Like it's insane. He can deserve to lose and face Bill Goldberg, which I think people would love. Bill was known for roughing up his opponents, being tough. That's what Gunther does. The match kind of writes itself. It's two brutes going at it. We've seen it with Sheamus and Gunther. We've seen it with Drew and Gunther. Bill's a little bit older, but the spears still look deadly when he throws them. So I think it would work out very well if that was the case.
And Goldberg, I mean, I feel like he's never been out of shape, but he looks great. He looks like Bill Goldberg. He hasn't really aged. He looks like the badass that he is. I like that they showed Gage too. I don't know if Gage is going to try to get into wrestling. I have no idea, but I'm curious to see what happens.
Maybe he'll be the next Hook. He'll just be Gage.
I was just thinking that. I was literally like, oh, maybe he'll get like a Hook persona. He'll just walk out to he kind of looks like Hook in a way. Like, the long moppy hair. It kind of reminds me of it.
I want to go into now the match where we had Dominic Mysterio hanging from the shark cage for a little bit at the end there. Court, what were your thoughts? Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Women's World Championship match.
Thought the match was great. Thought the Dom stuff was pretty hilarious. I mean, when he's hanging by the cage and Rhea's hitting him like a piñata, like that was golden. Obviously there was the ending, which got all messed up. But I think the match was solid. I think it worked. They made it work. They figured out a way to, work through it. So, but the match was good. And the Dom stuff was so funny. Like he's just going to never be face ever. No. The man is never going to be a baby face ever. It could be 20 years from now. He could be going to the Hall of Fame, something. Never going to be face. Always going to be booed. But it was great. I enjoyed it. I thought the match was good. Even with the distraction of Dominic in the cage, it was still a good match. And I thought it was good.
Yeah, they had a lot of good shots, too, of the match going on with him in the cage. And remember, people, this man got booed at his own wedding. So I think you're right, Court. I don't think there's a chance this guy's going to get another cheer in his life. But, yeah, I think the ending, even though it got construed a little bit, I think if it was just handled with a little less nerves, I think the ref should have called the DQ right away. And I know Raquel just returned, from the disease she has and stuff. But, like, you got to know, you heard that bell ring. Don't just put Liv on top of Rhea. At that point, just, like, beat her up a little bit more or something. It's just, I think there is some experience that needed to be had during that match. But, again, I don't think it was awful. It was a little bit awkward, but nothing that really destroyed it too much for me. I think it did what it had to. Raquel Rodriguez came back, beat up Rhea Ripley. They all have their stories together because like Liv mentioned, her and Raquel were tag team champions after her and Rhea. Rhea and Raquel have some beef in the past, so it all works out. Now I just want to know, is Dominic going to be in a throuple, or is this going to be like the enforcer for Dom and Liv? And does she go to the Judgment Day, or does Dom and Liv just make their way separately? I'm very curious to see how that's going to go.
Yeah, it was interesting, like on Raw, how they played that out. Like you see them arriving. Jackie Redmond tries to get a word with them. They talk for maybe all of a minute, and they're like, we're going to get out of here, and they just leave. I think Raquel is going to join the Judgment Day, and per se, in a way. I'm so mad at Raquel for botching that finish, or the ref, whoever it was, because Liv was going to win that match, not clean, but she was going to get the 1, 2, 3, and instead, freaking the win goes to Rhea Ripley. But whatever. Liv retains her belt. Yeah, the match was fun. Dangerous spot with Dom. When he fell out, like that's a sketchy spot. If something goes wrong, he's landing right on his head. But it was a fun match. Dom, looking scared shitless, sitting down while it's shaking. Overall fun match. Just wish the ending was a bit different.
Yeah, I think Raquel was a little quick to jump in that. I think the ref was supposed to take the kendo stick away from Rhea, like put the kendo stick away and have Rhea get jumped real quick, thrown in the ring. That's what I think was supposed to happen. That's what it just seemed like. But like they ran at the same time, and I was like, "What is happening?" But again, I didn't. It was fine for me. But like talking about the Judgment Day though, like we had Finn Damien, and it was a very good match. It was, what I expected. But for me, this whole time, it was always like kind of like a lose-lose situation. I think Finn needed to win more, but as I spoke in the past, how do you have Damien lose? Because if he loses as he's this big baby face and he's trying to skyrocket this man as a baby face, you can't have him lose. So like, it was just a lose-lose to me. I think they really need to start propping up Finn Balor. They need to, like, he's taken enough losses and he's been on the back burner for the Judgment Day and for these storylines that they really need to skyrocket this man for what he deserves.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm just still so mad at Raquel. I mean, I know, like you said, it's her like getting back into the groove of things, but it was just a weird ending, and it messed up one of my predictions. So I'm holding a grudge.
Oh my God, you would have got Cody wrong anyway, bud. But
I don't care. You would have got Liv wrong or Rhea wrong.
Fine, fair. But as what were we talking about? Oh, Finn. Where does Finn go from here? Because I agree with you. He deserves to be up there, and he's been playing backseat for way too long. And I think we have talked about the Wyatt Six maybe with Judgment Day, but it seems like it's going in a different direction now. Are they going after Miz, carrying Cross? Not sure. But where does that leave Finn? Because now it's just, does he go after Gunther? No, probably not, right? So it's a big question mark, and I feel like they need to address that immediately.
It's tough. Because you're right. I don't know where they go with Finn right now. You have things going on with Kofi and Xavier Woods. You see a heel turn coming from Xavier, so you're not gonna throw him over there. And you're right. We all thought that the next move for the Wyatt Six was the Judgment Day. Clearly, that's not for a little while longer. I don't know how they're gonna make it work with just the Miz. It's just one guy. I feel like a faction should really be going after a group of people, not just one individual. So I don't know. Maybe they got to do something, because it's the Judgment Day. So they have to figure something out, and they got to figure it out quick, like you said.
Yeah, and I think too, with that being said, I think, Corey, you're right. I think Karrion Kross's group, I forget their name, but
The Final Testament.
Thank you. I think that would be a good next target. But even with the stories that's going on, we have Braun Breaker going after Jay again. We thought we were going to see the face turn. We thought the dogs were going to be barking for Braun Breaker. And, he's like, nah, I want my title back. Screw that. I ain't a good guy. I'm here for championships. So there's a lot of stories that are happening on Raw. Raw's now 2 hours until it goes to Netflix, which will still be 2 hours, but with no commercial breaks. So we've lost time on the program. That means less airtime for some superstars. And there's just so much story that still needs to be told. And I really hope the Judgment Day doesn't fall on that. But
I'm sorry. I know I just want to ask this question before I forget. How do you guys feel about the 2 hour switch? Because I know we're used to SmackDown being 2 hours, but like, how did you feel, only getting 2 hours of Raw this past Monday and like knowing that it's going to be that way for the next several weeks?
I want 3. It's more story coverage.
Yeah.
It's especially with all those characters. I know it's long, but a football game is 3 hours, 4 hours sometimes. Like, it's a sport. It's sports entertainment, but like, it's if you're invested and you like it, people watch 12 hours of football every Sunday and Saturday, Monday night, Thursday night. Like, it's not asking too much for people. If you like the program, if you're invested, 3 hours isn't that much. I've watched movies that are longer than 3 hours, so I do miss it. I think there's a lot to be had, and especially in a day and age where you have social media to watch stuff back. We spoke about this. Like, back in the day, they had small clips on YouTube. Now you can watch the whole thing on someone's TikTok page. It's, there's a way to watch it. And I think 3 hours is perfect.
Yeah, we spoke about it before in a past episode. But when 3 Hour Raw first started, we were all hyped. Then it kind of fell off a little bit. We wanted 2 hours back. Then we were back on the train for 3 hours, and the 2 hour Raw just felt very squished. It was obviously there's an adjustment period, but even in the beginning, I mean, I know they did Punk came out, then Seth came out, and then Jay comes out. They're like the entrances are like on top of each other, and it's cool to a point, but it just feels very squished and like very tight.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that whole beginning, where you had Punk come out, and it was just I felt like everyone was just jumping on top of each other and getting involved, and just like, yeah, I just felt like it was rushed. Everyone was interrupting each other, and it just felt squeezed.
Yeah, and quick thoughts before we get into our bump of the week. One more match, another wrong prediction by our friend Justin over here, who came out with the WWE Women's Championship, Justin.
Come on. I mean, I went out on a limb. I did what you guys did. I didn't even, come on. Come on. Nia Jax came out with it. We had the tease of Tiffany Stratton. You guys went out on a limb for SummerSlam. I played the safe card during SummerSlam. I thought maybe it was the time for her to cash in. I guess they're still letting it marinate. It's marinating still. Don't worry. It's going to happen.
Look, man, you bragged about going perfect for SummerSlam. You did this to yourself. You talked your shit. Now we get to talk our shit. All right.
All right. I fell off a little bit. I'll get back on the saddle. Everyone has an off day. And next pay-per-view, I will be right here in this seat predicting 5 for 5, 6 for 6, 7 for 7, whatever it is, crown jewel. I'm going perfect.
I appreciate that. Talk that shit, man. I appreciate it. So we're going to go into our second segment of the night, which is the bump of the week. And last week's nominees were Wentz misses the table, the ball pit rumble, and the referee falling out of the ring. And the winner is Justin, going back to back with the Wentz missing the table. That was pretty damn brutal. That was a rough watch.
I mean, yeah, come on, guys. I mean, that was sick. That was sickening. That was easy. I mean, the ball pit lady, she had a mean hip toss. That was a mean hip toss into the balls. But I mean, Zach Wentz, like, he almost like died going almost like missing that table.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go settle back into the wrestling world to try and get a bump of the week win. But I just saw that hip toss, man, and I was like, oh my God, who taught this lady MMA and where can I learn? Because if this lady can just toss other moms in ball pits with that kind of power, I need to learn how to do it.
You're not wrong. I would not walk up to that lady in a Chuck E. Cheese anytime too soon, because she would probably hip toss my ass as well, and I'd be crying.
That lady's seen some shit. She's done some shit.
All right, so this week we have to pick some new nominees, and I'm going to pick my bump of the week first. And it, of course, was in the first match of the night at Bad Blood. We had CM Punk send in a message to Drew McIntyre with a toolbox and busting Drew open pretty damn good. I saw blood flowing from his head from that hit. Justin, what is your nomination?
Yeah, so my nomination is also from that match. Actually, on our TikTok account, when I posted the video, I had already had it in my mind, and I posted last week's, obviously after Bad Blood. So we had a comment from Rob, and his ad is the Trash Goblin 82. So shout out to the Trash Goblin. Because I'm going with what he said in the comments. It is that missed Claymore by Drew McIntyre in the Hell in a Cell, where his back went right into the steps. It was brutal. I'm going back to back to back. I'm calling it right now.
Bro, those back hits on corners.
It was brutal. It was nasty.
Oh, it gets me. I can't. It freaks me out every time.
It was nasty. It was a bump. It was a really bad bump that's going to win bump of the week.
And on to me. I'm gonna go with something different from the Hell in a Cell. I mean, you could pick anything from that match. There was so many. So I'm gonna go with something a little different. Randy Orton versus Javion Evans. Jeez. On NXT, they went for a crazy RKO spot that if it would have hit, it would have been insane. But it was botched. But that's what I'm going with because, man, if they pulled that off. So I know it's kind of a weird pick, but that's my pick. And I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, and now we're gonna roll into a little bit of NXT. And since we're talking about, like, I loved how Randy Orton picked that man up and was like, yo, brush that shit off. You're still a star. Like, keep your head up. Like, Randy Orton, old wise Randy Orton. He's not that old, but old wise Randy Orton is my favorite Randy Orton. Yes, I want him heel, but like to show, like, do you think 21-year-old Randy Orton would have picked that kid up and said, yo, brush that shit off? He would have been screaming, like, fuck you. What are you doing? Like, we practice this. Like, I don't know. Wise old Randy Orton is like, old Logan to me in Marvel. Like, it's so perfect. I didn't think I'd love Randy this much, just giving back to the young guys.
Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't have happened in the ring, but once they got backstage into Gorilla, younger Randy would have been like, dude, we've practiced this, like you said, how many fucking times, and you missed. Although it was like a crazy spot, like it was all on Siobhan Evans, like that move that I don't even know what was that a McTwisty? I don't even know what that was.
He
called.
Just spun like 15 times.
It's like a 450 McTwisty. That's what I'm going to call it. But it was sick, and I like that. Randy, he kind of shrugged it off, and then he had to hit him with another RKO just to finish the deal. But that's also why you can't have heel Randy yet. You got to let Randy just play the neutral card right now.
Yeah, I think Randy that was ripping off urinals and putting fireworks and things on European trips would not have acted that way. So it was cool to see him pick him up. I think he tells him, you're the fucking man. Like, you're good. Things happen. But, man, old Randy would be spitting and saliva dripping everywhere and just screaming. But the match was awesome despite the botch. And I love it, man. I love Randy. Randy can do no wrong to me. I've never disliked Randy in my life.
And to talk about, like, AEW had their Title Tuesday, and we kind of had a Title Tuesday at NXT. You had the NXT Tag Championships on the line, you had the North American Championship on the line, and you had Randy Orton on the card. And NXT did, I think, 500,000 more viewers in the demographic than Title Tuesday did. We are long gone from the years where AEW was, battling it out with, NXT and pretty close, but now it wasn't even near close.
Yeah. And so sure, NXT's stacked this show. You had the SmackDown Women's Champions, you had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill on the show. You had Randy on the show. So, there was main card presence there. but still, like when you were talking 2 years ago when it was NXT versus Dynamite on Tuesday, that was 2.0. That was like Braun Breaker coming out of the womb young. Like, all these superstars that we're now seeing turn into superstars, that was them literally development a few months after. So now you see what's happening, and it's just a totally different ballgame. Like, I didn't even get to watch AEW. All I know is Daniel Garcia re-signed. That's all I know from the whole show. That's it. Hand up.
Yeah, I didn't watch AEW either, being completely honest. I wonder too, like, is Tony Khan giving up? Like, not giving up, but like, I feel like he's not promoting as much. He's not going as crazy on social media. It's just NXT just destroyed them. And yeah, they had main roster talent there, but like, even if they didn't, I feel like it would be the same gap. They're just not getting the same viewership. And yeah, they had main roster talent, but AEW had their entire roster to combat with them. So like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, there's a big gap here, and it's unexplainable.
Well, when you have Tony D'Angelo win the North American Championship against Obafemi, that's how you make that money and that viewership. I was so happy. This is what I was hoping for. I want Obafemi to just take over NXT, heel monster, decimate Trick Williams, hold that championship hostage. He is a monster. He is a stud in the ring, but it is Tony D'Angelo's time. And dude, I don't know. That's all I cared about. Like, was I happy Randy was on the card? Yes. Was I happy that, we had the women's tag team champions on the card? Yes. Am I happy that the CW is doing great for NXT and NXT is doing great for the CW? Yeah. But I'm ready for the Tony D'Angelo era, man. That's what I'm here for.
We got to get you a Tony D'Angelo, the Don shirt, the Don of NXT. We got to get you one of those. But another debut, we had Stephanie Vakir. We spoke about it a little bit last week. We kind of thought this might be the route that they went. We had Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez pretty much reunite. Cora said, "This is the Roxanne that I was looking for when I was fighting you. This is the Roxanne that deserves to be champion." And then out comes Julia, and then out comes Stephanie Vakir. So it looks like we're going to get a little tag team action just to let the international superstars get their feet wet in the NXT waters. And I cannot wait. And then we have Delta coming. Delta is on her way. Halloween Havoc. My God, the women's NXT roster is stacked.
It's so loaded. Like, it's insane. And I can't wait. I mean, there's so much potential there for so many good matches and so many stories. And Shawn Michaels is just going to cook. He's been cooking. He's just going to keep cooking. And I mean, he's got every opportunity. It's amazing. I love it.
I mean, they remade the old school USA DX speech, the State of the Union.
So good.
And like the dropping all the lingo and the skibbity Ohios and whatever else the kids say nowadays. I was rolling. I was laughing probably harder than I should have at that skit. I wish they just push segments even online, or they should make their own YouTube channel, just Hunter and Sean, and then that's it. That's all I need. Just do some skits, have some wrestlers on, do some more skits. I said it last week. I love the relationship between Punk and Hunter, and then also Punk and HBK, and the three of them. Like, I could watch hours and hours of content of Shawn Michaels and Triple H just doing things, and that's it. They could be cooking, they could be mowing the lawn, they could be hanging out with their children. I don't care. They could be snoring on sleeping next to each other in twin beds in a hotel for all I care. I could watch anything that they do.
Yeah, remember like the Edge and Christian show? Can we get the Triple H and Shawn Michaels show? I would watch the hell out of that. 24 hours. Just keep it going. Just keep a camera on them. That's all we need.
Yeah. But I'm happy for NXT on the CW right now. I kind of hope that they keep bringing main roster, at least for like the first few months, main roster stars to have some matches, even to have some segments. They were doing it with Punk. They did it with Randy. They did it with, women's tag team champions. I think Cody, last year Cody came back for a little bit to announce some things. I think you can bring Cody on, have Gunther beat the hell out of someone for a little bit. Like, there's plenty you can do. And I don't know. I think we have a very bright future for NXT on the CW, which I was very skeptical before they even made it there, because Court and I know how the CW was, how it's been, what's been through the CW, and it's exciting that there's a lot of people watching on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, I think the only negative that they're going to run into, which I don't think we've witnessed it yet, but with that network, it's like that's, hardcore, network TV where 10 o'clock, they're on to the next thing, whether it's the news or whatever. I don't think there's going to be that extra runtime that like you might get on USA or like, AEW gets every other week, because that's all they do is just extend the runtime. But it's going to be from 8 to 10, and that's it. Once 10 o'clock hits, NXT's off the air. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust to that, and they're gonna it's gonna have to be down to the minute.
Yeah. But for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. For those watching, thanks for watching. We should have some exciting new things on the horizon coming up, at least for a month or so, we'll say, maybe longer, who knows. Tune in for that next week. Make sure to go on the socials, vote for the bump of the week, and please don't let Justin three-peat. Give Court and I a chance in the bump of the week nominations.
Show us some love. Show us some love.
Because
Cody Rhodes is the #1 wrestler in the world. Soundboard.
That Real Marks out.
Peace.